Looks like the security group of YouTube channel has been talking about protest at universities. Yeah, I'm late. So I just got done watching Ryan's video. Ryan from the University Security and Training Solutions channel. I'll leave a link in the description box. Make sure you guys watch that video. I'm not going to repeat what he said, but I'm going to repeat something that I've been saying since last year. So look, this is the truth about working event security right now. There is the pro-Palestine protest, and then the I gotta be careful what I say, anti-Palestine, I guess, protests that have been going on at the universities. And you have event security that's kind of forced into contract in a way to work these protests at these universities, in particular University of California, Los Angeles. Ryan made an excellent point, guys. Event security is not designed to handle riots or protest. It's two different things. You need a specialized security company. I could see the fear in the security officers' eyes as they were just standing there preventing entry into whatever it is that they're trying to protect. It's very scary. Somebody is being physically aggressive towards police officers or other members of the crowd. You can direct a kinesthetic munition or a chemical agent at that person. The problem is chemical agents go with the wind, right? So if you have somebody who is encouraging violence, or somebody that's walking around with a 2x4 showing the intent to hurt somebody, okay, if you direct a chemical munition towards that person, the person that is the reporter, right? The person who is peacefully protesting can be affected by chemical munition. That's the issue, guys. That's the issue. So all this person has to do, okay, that's causing the problems, is walk in and out of the group that is peacefully protesting, and they're not supposed to be hit with any type of, or affected by any type of chemical agent or munition. Now, in a perfect world, is that going to happen? No. What's going to probably end up happening is law enforcement will deploy those munitions, and somebody's going to be affected. They're going to end up suing. That's probably the case. But once again, I'm going to repeat, in California, the liberals passed a law that says that law enforcement cannot deploy kinesthetic munitions or chemical agent munitions unless 11 conditions are met, which are very, very strict conditions. And even if they are going to deploy, okay, it has to be directed at the person who's causing violence. So there's no more, in California, there's no more, let me deploy a chemical agent munition to disperse the crowd. You can't do that anymore. A lot of police officers don't know that. A lot of the members of the public don't know that. I know that because I had to give basically a public announcement, an informational seminar to the public about the military weapons program, and what types of chemical munitions a certain department has. Things have changed, guys, okay? Now, when you start seeing law enforcement arrive with gas mask and riot gear, if you are event security, you probably want to start going. So the latest trend for law enforcement is to not arrive with the padding, the helmets, the long batons, because that kind of alienates that officer, or dehumanizes that officer from somebody who's peacefully protesting. That's what happens. And we've seen a lot of times when officers take off the helmets, take off all the riot gear, the outcome is a lot more peaceful. But knowing that, when you see police officers arriving with that equipment on, guys, you need to leave. I honestly would leave. Most of the time, you're not going to have the same chemical agent munitions that law enforcement has. You're probably not going to have your kinesthetic munitions, because in California, it's questionable whether you can place a beanbag stabilized shell into your 12 gauge. That's a huge gray area, right? So what are you left with? Okay, a 47 millimeter launcher, a 37 millimeter launcher, which is ATF regulated. And even if you have a hold on one of those, like let's just say maybe like a flame, not a flame, a flare launcher. Okay, where are you going to buy the munitions for that? Nobody's going to sell them to you. CTS and DefTech Technologies are not going to sell that to you. You have to be law enforcement or military. You're looking at 200, 300, maybe the better ones. My buddy Randy from Global Veterans sold me his for $700. He paid $1,500. That's your military grade math, right? Now, you don't have to pay $1,500 for a good mask, but I'm just saying you probably don't have the right equipment. Okay, so make sure you watch Ryan's video that I have posted in the description box below. Keep in mind, in California, law enforcement cannot deploy less lethal chemical agents, including kinesthetic munitions, unless 11 conditions are met, unless it's directed at the actual aggressor. A lot of people are wondering, where was UCLA PD, CHP, LAPD when all of these acts of violence were acting itself out? They were probably at a safe area, because if it was me, I'm not too sure. I'm very strategic on when I'm going to deploy these police officers. Okay, because you start deploying them to these areas where there's 2x4s, there's rocks being thrown, you could potentially have deadly circumstances. Okay, so again, it's a numbers game. It's also a numbers game. All of those agencies that I just mentioned, they're short-handed, guys. They barely, listen to me very carefully. In California, because I'm in law enforcement, they barely have enough numbers to man a patrol shift. A lot of these agencies don't even have detectives, or their detective bureau is very slim. A lot of them are going back to patrol. Where the hell are they going to get the extra manpower to address these riotous situations? They're not. So if you want to know where they are, they're not going to be there. Yes, join the SF.